Hi guys, so in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make a super easy, quick, delicious apple pie. Now that it's fall, I think this is the perfect time to show you guys so you can make it at Thanksgiving or whenever. It is a delicious treat and you guys will love it. So first you're going to want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. For this pie, I'm using a pre-made crust because it just makes the cooking time a lot faster. So just go to your local grocery store and find a 9-inch deep dish, flaky, home-style pie crust. Really, any crust works. Then I like to take the bottom half of the pie crust and throw it in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes to just get it a little crispy and browned before we put the apples in. Next, it's time to wash the apples. For this pie, we are using McIntosh apples because they are known to be the softest. So if you like a crunchy crust with soft apples, then I suggest using McIntosh. After washing the apples, it's time to peel them. We used about 10 to 12 apples, but I would say just use as many as you can fit into the crust. So just make sure to get all sides of the skin off and that the seeds don't go into the bowl. Now you can peel the apples with either a peeler or a knife. My boyfriend is living on the wild side here, but just make sure to be careful and that you do not prick yourself in the process. Once that 10 to 15 minutes is up, you are going to pull the bottom half crust out of the oven and you're going to add a couple slices of butter and throw it back in there because we just like the crust to be extra buttery and tasty. This is an optional step, but it really makes the pie a lot tastier. It's also a good idea to poke some holes in the bottom crust just so the pie can breathe, so make sure to do that too. When the butter has completely melted on the bottom crust, pull it out of the oven and set it to the side. Now it's time to mix our dry ingredients. So in a bowl, you are going to put 1/4 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon and mix that all together. To finish off the dry ingredients, add a couple dashes of salt for taste. Next, take your 2 lemons, cut them up, and squeeze them over the apples, making sure that none of the seeds get into the apple bowl. Then take your bowl of dry ingredients and evenly mix it into the apples. Once everything is thoroughly mixed, start to add your apples into the bottom pie crust. Your pie should look like this when all the apples are added, and then make sure to scrape the sides of that bowl to get all the extra juices and add them to the top of the pie. This next step is optional, but I like to add a couple chunks of butter at the top of the pie because I feel that it seeps into the pie and gives it a lot more flavor, so you can either decide to do this or skip out on this. It's crust time now, which can be a little difficult, so I suggest running a knife along the sides to loosen it up, and then you're going to flip it on top of the pie to completely cover the pie with the top crust. The flip never usually comes out perfectly, so don't worry about that. Just adjust the top pie crust to make sure that it's covering all the sides and that no sides are sticking out. Next, heat up a decent sized chunk of butter until it is completely melted, and we're going to lather that on top of the crust. This makes the crust more flaky, crunchy, and more delicious. When the top crust is all lathered up with butter, it's time to sprinkle some raw cane sugar over the top of the crust. This just gives it a little sweetness and adds a nice crunch to the crust. It's important before you bake the pie to put a couple slits in the top of the crust. This allows the pie to breathe so it won't explode in the oven. And yeah, please don't forget this step. It is super important. Finally, you can throw your pie in the oven at 400 degrees. After 20 minutes, you're going to flip the pie around and turn the oven down to 350 degrees. After an additional 40 minutes, it's time to see if the pie is done. It usually takes around an hour, but in this case, I think we cooked it for 15 minutes longer because I like the crust extra crispy. A secret tip that me and my boyfriend love to do is take the pan that the pie was cooking on and scrape it completely and put all those excess juices onto the top of the pie. It's almost like a homemade caramelized applesauce, so I really suggest doing this. It really just adds that extra oomph to the pie and makes it delish. And that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel down below if you haven't already, and click that bell so you always know when I'm posting a new video. My videos go up every Monday, and yeah, you don't have to be a baker to make this. It is super easy and simple, so I hope you guys make it for your friends and family, and let me know what you think. See you in my next video.